So don't be alarmed, you haven't joined a maths lesson. This reminds me of my maths in the first year of secondary school. Hold on, I'm just letting a few more people in. I think everybody's in. Is everyone in? Yeah. Okay. So I thought this was a very interesting thing to look at, actually, because it's the kind of thing that you never really come across in a conversation, but every now and again it's going to be useful to know how to talk about shapes and materials. So forme et matériaux, so shapes and materials. So les formes géométriques. Okay, so let's remember our maths. So some of you might be very good at maths. I'm not one of those people, but anyway. So here we have un carré, which is a square, or être carré, to be square. And actually it doesn't mean to be square in the same way it does in English, but it does mean to be well behaved, actually. So tiens-toi carré is behave yourself. So and then we've got angle droit, an angle droit, which now droit means rights, right, as in les droits humains, human rights, yeah. So exactly like English, a right angle. Voilà. Une diagonale, I don't need to explain that to you. Un rectangle, être rectangulaire, okay. Un triangle, être triangulaire, that's okay. Now, un angle aigu, what's that? Un angle aigu. You might know this word from aigu, from accent aigu, because we have the accent aigu, the accent grave in French, don't we? And the accent aigu is a cute accent, so it's the acute angle there. Then we have un cercle, un rond, être circulaire, être rond. So they're interchangeable. And then, just like in English, la circonférence, le diamètre, so same as English, and le rayon. Can you guess what le rayon is? Le rayon is the radius. Un hexagone, être hexagonal, okay. Notice as well, these are masculine, a lot of these. Useful to know, isn't it, for your shapes. Square, rectangle, triangle, circle, hexagon, diamond, oval, they're all, and cube, they're all masculine. So you could remember that as a group. Un losange, self-explanatory. Un ovale, être ovale, une spirale. Okay, so you can see anyway by the pictures. Un cube, être cubique, but une pyramide, être pyramidale, une sphère, être sphérique. And then we're back to masculine again. Un cylindre, être cylindrique. Okay. And then we've got deux lignes parallèles et perpendiculaires. Now, I don't think I'd ever use perpendicular in English, but in French, it'd be quite a common thing to say, actually, perpendicular. They like using these very long words, don't they, that we don't necessarily use. Now, this is a bit fun. Quelques expressions imagées. So this is where we're using some of this in figurative speech. So, Cédric tourne en rond. Il ne sait pas quoi faire et cela le déprime. So what's happening there for Cédric? So Cédric tourne en rond, is going round in circles. He doesn't know what to do and it's depressing him. So tourner en rond is you're just not making any progress, that kind of feeling as well. Same thing, excuse me, with la discussion tourne en rond. Rien n'est décidé, rien n'avance. So the discussion's going round in circles. Similar to English. Oh, le pauvre Jules n'a plus un rond. Il a dépensé tout son argent. Oh, poor Jules, he hasn't got a single round. So I suppose if you think about it, a coin is round, isn't it? So he hasn't got any money left. He spent all his money. Now, if you're a fan of football or rugby, you might like these expressions. So, j'adore le ballon rond, rather than saying le football ou le foot. Et j'adore le ballon ovale instead of saying le rugby. So it's just a little bit a more interesting way of saying it. Hélas, Zoé risque d'entrer dans le cercle infernal de la drogue. Unfortunately, or alas, you know, that is alas, Zoe is likely to fall into the vicious circle, not vicious circle, or the infernal circle of drugs. You get the meaning anyway. Pour travailler, il me faut une voiture. Mais pour acheter une voiture, il me faut un travail. Comment briser ce cercle vicieux? Ce cercle vicieux. So, vicious circle, same exactly as English. Okay, and then we've got a lot of circles coming up. So, cet homme appartient au cercle des amis du président. So, this man is part of the circle of friends of the president. Les enfants sont assis en cercle, égal en rang, autour de leur professeur. D'autres fois, ils s'installent en demi-cercle. So the children are sitting in a semicircle, in a circle around their teacher. And other times, ils s'installent, they settle down. S'installer, lovely verb that, very useful verb actually. In a semicircle. Okay, I like this one. On me demande la quadrature du cercle. On me demande l'impossible. So we're asking me for the square root of a circle, which is impossible. So that's a good one. So rather than saying, oh, c'est impossible ce qu'elle me demande, this is a more interesting way of saying it. J'ai lu cet article en diagonale, ça veut dire très rapidement. So I read this article diagonally, which means very quickly, which is actually probably how you would do it. À cause de sa forme, la France est souvent appelée l'hexagone et hexagonal est employé pour signifier français. So yeah, you hear this on the news, on the weather quite a lot. So the France is actually, it could be put into a shape of a hexagon. So call France hexagon, but actually something I didn't know. I didn't know that français was hexagonal. So if you want to use French as an adjective, you can say hexagonal. So la nourriture hexagonale est extra, for example. C'est la spirale des prix, ils sont de plus en plus hauts. So it's a spiral of prices. It's not going down, actually, that's going up. They're going up and up. Audrey fréquente les hautes sphères de la société. Ses enfants, eux, ne sont pas encore sortis de la sphère familiale. So Audrey frequents high circles of society. We say circles, don't we? Her children haven't actually come out of the family sphere, circle. Okay, tout le monde essaie d'arrondir les angles pour éviter les disputes. So everyone tries to round off the corners, if you like, to avoid arguments. Right, okay, so you've had a little whistle-stop tour of those. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a little test. Okay, and see if you can remember. Obviously, it's just down to you to decide. You can write it down, or you could just say it out loud, or just think it. It's absolutely fine, whichever suits you best. Okay, so how do we say square? How do we say square? What's the French for square? Yeah, and you get an extra point for yourself if you know if it's masculine or feminine. So it's un carré masculin. I won't ask you rectangle and triangle because that's pretty obvious, isn't it? What are the two words we can use for circle? Two different words for circle. Okay, so both are masculine. Un cercle, un rond. Very good. What was the word that we used to describe France, which is also a shape? Which is also masculine? Very good. An hexagon. Hexagon. What about a diamond shape? It wasn't diamond. Un losange. Un losange. Okay, what about two, just nearly said it, two lines that go alongside each other? Same as English, isn't it? Parallèle, les lignes parallèles. Très bien. Now, what about if a discussion is going round and round in circles? Well, how would you describe that discussion? Very good. Yeah, la discussion tourne en rond. La discussion tourne en rond. What do we call a football? What's a football? Another way to call football. It's not actually referring to the ball, it's referring to the game. Another way of referring to the game. Le ballon rond. Le ballon rond. And another way of describing or referring to rugby would be, voilà, très bien. Le ballon ovale. Très bien, excellent. How do you say vicious circle in French? It always makes me laugh when people call them very vicious circle. Un cercle vicieux. Un cercle vicieux. So pretty similar to English. Why would you say a circle of friends? So similar to English, these, aren't they? So, un cercle d'amis. Un cercle d'amis. Voilà, très bien. How could you say, using the word circle, how could you say that something's impossible? The whole phrase, it's a whole expression. It is, on me demande la quadrature du cercle. On me demande la quadrature du cercle, square root of a circle. How can we say that we're reading something quickly? Zipping through it, skimming it. Je lis en diagonale. Je lis en diagonale. Diagonale, sorry, diagonale. Très bien. How about we're saying that prices are going up and up and up? La spirale des prix. La spirale des prix. Très bien. What about if you circulate in high circles? How would you say that in French? High circles. Les hautes sphères. Les hautes sphères. Notice that's feminine, yeah? Haute sphère. And if you want to avoid an argument, you want to round off the corners of something, you would say, on essaie d'arrondir les ongles. D'arrondir les ongles. And just the last one, what was that acute angle, which is the same word, the same adjective as an acute accent? What was that? Aigu, voilà, un angle aigu, aigu. Bravo, très bien. Oh, I think that's interesting, but never mind. Anyway, merci beaucoup et à bientôt. Alors, merci d'être venu. Au revoir. Au revoir.